Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Lady Lioness and Friends. My name is Lady Lioness. I am a white woman with curly brown hair. I am wearing glasses. I am wearing a blue plaid shirt and my lively device around my neck as usual. And I am outside today. And so the background is kind of changing. I'm moving in my electric wheelchair. There is a school bus passing me by at the moment. And there is no clouds. There are no clouds in the sky today. The sky is blue. I'm out early in the morning, right after breakfast, so that I can take advantage of the cooler morning air because the weather has been super duper hot around here in Boise, Idaho. The weather has been in the 100s pretty much consistently for the past month. We did have one day of 80-degree weather, and then it went right back to the 90s, and then right the day after that, it went right back to the 100 degrees. Yesterday, it hit 106 where I'm living. 106 degrees. It's not that that's unheard of, it's just not usual for it to be so hot for so long. I think we've had something like close to 25 days of 100-degree weather in 2022. So that's pretty unusual for Boise, Idaho. And it's not comfortable. Thankfully, I was traveling for a good portion of that. So speaking of traveling, I haven't been putting out videos for the past week or so because I have been resting, pretty much sleeping nonstop. When you have mitochondrial myopathy, you don't have a lot of energy, and if you exert as much energy as I did for the last month, traveling and seeing family and whatnot, and not resting in between, then when you get home, your body absolutely crashes, and that's what it did when I got home. I remember thinking that, wow, I've been traveling for a month and I'm doing pretty good. I'm able to keep my energy up, and of course I was doing it within reason. I wasn't going crazy with my energy, but I was like, well, it's I've been doing pretty good and haven't needed to take regular naps and all this. Well, I don't know what happened, because as soon as I got home, I couldn't not take naps. In fact, it was kind of like get up, eat, go back to bed, wake up for lunch, eat, go back to bed, wake up for dinner, eat, watch a couple TV shows, and go back to bed for all night. So that's pretty much been the protocol for the last about 3 weeks since I got home. Woo, sorry, put my hand right in front of the camera. But anyway, I'm sitting out in the park right now, and it's really, really nice out right now. The temperature's tolerable. And so let's see, what did I set aside to talk about today? First of all, sending out a heartfelt thank you to everyone who helped me during my travels. I was only expecting to travel for a week and only had the funds to travel for a week. So when I had a couple of family emergencies, my friends stepped up and provided me with anything I needed to get to be in a supportive role for my family during 2 great big family crises that happened while I was on vacation. So anyway, thank you to my friends, all of you. Love you so much. Mwah. So I've got some ideas for some more series that I want to put on. One is I've been wanting to go around town and check out places and see how accessible places are. Maybe some days I'll pick something at random. Some days I may just pick something that's convenient and close for me. But I want to take my wheelchair around and find out exactly how accessible Boise, Idaho is. And it's kind of frustrating when you're disabled, especially if you haven't been disabled your whole life, where previously you were able to go wherever you wanted, and then you become disabled and you're limited where you can go. And I find that people take a very I don't know what word to put with it. They don't think about it very much, about how hard it is for disabled people to get around, and a lot of people think of disabled people as older people. They don't think about the younger people, like, kids. I mean, playgrounds are not very accessible for kids in wheelchairs and stuff like that. And when builders and contractors are building these places, they don't think about it either. It seems like we're usually made as an afterthought of, oh, we'll put an accessible ramp in the back of the building so that people with wheelchairs can go around back and come in the back way, or something like that. Cities might install, a little patch of cement for a kid in a wheelchair to get to the playground, but then what do they do when they get to the playground? Are they supposed to just wheel around the playground equipment in circles, cheering on their friends as they play on the equipment? It's like, not much thought is put into that. And I have come across a movement that encourages builders and cities to think disability first. That way, when you build for disability, and that could be people in wheelchairs, that could be blind people, deaf people, any number of disabilities. But when you think disability first, it creates an accessible place for everyone, so that everyone can enjoy your building, your business, your restaurant, whatever, your playground. And believe me, I've seen some pretty impressive playgrounds that were built for children with disabilities, and it was made so that everyone could play on the equipment. When you build for disabilities, that doesn't mean it's only for people with disabilities. It's for everyone. And, making things accessible tells people with disabilities that we see you, we care about you, we include you. And that's a pretty good feeling. I am trying to remember where this place was. It is in Boise, Idaho. I went into a restroom one day and looked and just dropped my jaw, because someone had built a restroom with every single one of the stalls accessible for wheelchairs. Now, I want you, if you're a woman and you know what women's restrooms are like, okay? You know what they're like. A lot of people use that coveted, large, accessible bathroom. And what happens when you do that is you're making it unavailable for someone in a wheelchair, or that a disabled person that actually needs that extra space. Now, I know we all like those big spaces, but if you're in a restroom that only has one or two of those stalls and all the other stalls are open, don't take the larger stalls, please. And if you're a restaurant owner or a business owner, do not store things in the handicap stall. Those are two huge, huge obstacles for people in wheelchairs or walkers or someone with a cane, just anybody, or even like mothers who need to go in and change their child. That's also what those stalls are for. Mothers that are going in to help their children use the restroom. That's fine. I don't mind waiting for a mother who's helping their child using the larger stall. Almost every time I've run into that situation where I'm waiting and there's a mother with a child in there, they come out and they profusely apologize, and I tell them, no, don't apologize. You've got a child. I get it. You need the extra space. It's fine. But when I have to wait and a non-disabled person comes out of that stall and they have just been changing their clothes or just wanted the bigger stall, I give them a stare down. I don't say anything to them because I don't want to be mean, but I use my eyes to tell them that's not okay. So I'm telling you with my words right now, it's not okay to use those restroom stalls if you're a non-disabled person and if you just want the extra space. But anyway, back to this wonderful restroom that I saw. Oh wow, there is a huge hot air balloon over here. Let's see if I can get that. Whee! Up and away in my beautiful balloon. Does anyone remember that song? Anyway, sorry. Where was I? Restrooms. I went into this restroom and every single stall was handicap accessible. And I thought, that I didn't even think of that solution, but that's the perfect solution. If you're building a restroom, make all the stalls handicap accessible. That way, we get the best of both worlds. Everyone can use the big stalls. Handicapped people don't need to wait for a non-disabled person to come out of the handicap stall. And if you're not disabled, you can use the stall and not feel guilty about it. So that's really the perfect solution. But I mean, I think that's a good rule of thumb for anything. If you're building something new, build it for disabled people. Think disability first. And this includes, like, when you're making signage. Make signage with Braille on it so that people who are blind, when they're coming up to the sign, can read the sign. Or, make sure if you have a business, you have options for people who are deaf. Maybe people don't think about this, but if you work at a cash register or something, keep a pen and paper at your register to write things down, to communicate, or have a deaf person communicate with you, especially if you don't know ASL. And if you don't know what ASL is American Sign Language. And so, it just makes sense to me, especially now that I've been disabled. I thought about that a little bit when I was doing diversity work, but I can't not think about it now. And the hard thing about, so disability, people with disabilities supposedly have rights in the law. And in the law they do, but I've done some research about people who tried to bring lawsuits because people weren't honoring those laws. And I was really discouraged by what I found. A lot of times judges will rule against the person with the disability. That's upsetting that it's apparently a waste of your time to try to defend your rights if you're a disabled person. It's really disturbing because, I know other groups that are still fighting for their rights. And I think they assume once they have the laws changed that they will be given those rights. But the truth is, I'm a woman, or at least I'm AFAB, assigned female at birth. I'm disabled and I'm LGBT. And here's how that goes. I've been discriminated as a woman, as a female, my whole life. So I don't really know a whole lot different other than what people tell me. It's, what it's like to be treated as a man as opposed to being treated as a woman. And I've been LGBT. I came out about the age of 28. I did see a difference in how I was treated when I was perceived as being straight. I was treated much better than I was when I was perceived as being LGBT. And the way I was treated as an LGBT person was definitely worse than how I was treated as a woman. Once I became disabled, I was diagnosed at age 42. I'm 47 now. So I've had 5 years of experience being disabled, and I have to say, being disabled has been the worst treatment I've gotten. It's worse than how I'm treated as an LGBT person. So I always hear LGBT people say that they're treated like second-class citizens. Well, disabled people are treated like third-class citizens. And we supposedly have our rights. Now, the rights aren't adequate. The laws for the disabled aren't adequate. I can tell you that right now. But at least we have some rights. And I still feel like people who are disabled are treated poorly. Now, before my mother became disabled, I was under the assumption that people always treated people with disabilities with respect and all that. And I saw how people treated my mom. And then I became disabled, and I see how people treat me. Now, I'm not saying all people. There are people who are very kind and ask if I need help. And occasionally, people are overly helpful, too helpful sometimes, to the point where they get in my way. But I would prefer that to not being regarded with respect at all. So I'll speak more on this in future videos. I think I've talked about it long enough. But anyway, I'm hoping to do one of my new series on going around and seeing how accessible businesses really are here. So that's one. I have other ideas too, but we'll discuss those at other times. So anyway, thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll be able to make some more fun videos coming up now that I've got a little bit of energy back. So be looking for those. But anyway, this is Lady Lioness with Lady Lioness and Friends saying thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Love you all. Bye-bye.